Welcome back to over new video. I hope you like my videos. And subscribe my channel. And I hope I will learn you a good knowledge. Hello guys, how are you all? I hope you are all good and glad with you family and friends. Today we will learn about human brain. Don't forget to like video and subscribe channel. Welcome to today's lecture on human brain, one of the most fascinating and studied organ in our body. Known as the massager. Certainly. Let's dive deep into an extensive exploration of the human brain, the most complex and enigmatic organ in our body. 1. Introduction. What is the human brain? The human brain is a 3-pound organ housed within the skull. It is the control center of the body, responsible for processing sensory information, regulating bodily functions, and serving as the seat of consciousness, memory, emotions, and creativity. The brain operates through an intricate network of approximately 86 billion neurons and trillions of synaptic connections. 2. Structure of the brain. The brain is divided into various regions, each with specialized functions. Let's look at its structural components. A. Major divisions. 1. Cerebrum. Description. The largest part of the brain, divided into two hemispheres, left and right. Functions. Controls higher cognitive functions, sensory perception, voluntary motor activities, language, and problem solving. 2. Cerebellum. Description. Located at the back of the brain. Functions. Coordinates balance, posture, and fine motor skills. 3. Brainstem. Description. Connects the brain to the spinal cord. Functions. Regulates essential life functions like heart rate, breathing, and sleep cycles. B. Lobes of the cerebrum. 1. Frontal lobe. Functions. Decision-making, problem-solving, emotions, and motor skills. Unique feature. The prefrontal cortex here plays a key role in personality and social behaviors. 2. Parietal lobe. Functions. Processes sensory information like touch, pressure, and pain. 3. Temporal lobe. Functions. Responsible for hearing, memory, and language comprehension. 4. Occipital lobe. Functions. Dedicated to visual processing. C. Subcortical structures. 1. Thalamus. Acts as the brain's relay station, sending sensory signals to the cerebral cortex. 2. Hypothalamus. Regulates hormones, temperature, hunger, and circadian rhythms. 3. Hippocampus. Critical for memory formation. 4. Amygdala. Processes emotions, especially fear and pleasure. 5. Basal ganglia. Coordinates movement and motor control. 3. Neurons. The building blocks of the brain. Neurons are the fundamental units of the brain. Let's delve into their structure and function. A. Anatomy of a neuron. Cell body. Soma contains the nucleus and organelles. Dendrites. Receive incoming signals from other neurons. Axon. Sends electrical signals to other neurons or muscles. Myelin sheath. Insulates the axon and speeds up signal transmission. B. Types of neurons. 1. Sensory neurons. Transmit sensory information to the brain. 2. Motor neurons. Send signals from the brain to muscles. 3. Interneurons. Facilitate communication between sensory and motor neurons. C. Synaptic communication. Neurons communicate through synapses using neurotransmitters such as dopamine, serotonin, and acetylcholine. 4. The brain's functional systems. A. The limbic system. Controls emotions, memory, and motivation. Key components: amygdala, hippocampus, hypothalamus. B. The autonomic nervous system. Divided into the sympathetic, fight or flight, and parasympathetic, rest and digest systems. Maintains homeostasis by regulating involuntary actions like heart rate and digestion. C. Sensory processing. Vision. Occipital lobe processes light signals. Hearing. Temporal lobe interprets sound waves. Touch. Parietal lobe analyzes tactile inputs. Smell and taste. Linked to the limbic system for emotional association. 5. Plasticity of the brain. The brain is remarkably adaptable. Neuroplasticity refers to the ability of the brain to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections, especially after injury or during learning. 6. Brain disorders. A. Neurological disorders. Alzheimer's disease. Degenerative condition affecting memory and cognition. Parkinson's disease. Disorder of the basal ganglia causing motor impairment. B. Psychiatric disorders. Depression. Linked to imbalances in serotonin. Schizophrenia, disruptions in dopamine pathways. C. Trauma and stroke. Traumatic brain injuries and strokes can lead to localized brain damage. 7. Advances in brain research. A. Neuroimaging techniques. MRI and fMRI provide detailed images of brain structure and activity. EEG measures electrical activity in the brain. B. Brain-machine interfaces. Emerging technologies like brain-computer interfaces (BCIs) aim to restore motor functions and enable communication for individuals with paralysis. 8. Mysteries of the brain. Despite extensive research, the brain remains partially understood. Questions about consciousness, dreams, and the full potential of the human mind continue to inspire scientific explorations. 1. Fundamental operating principle. The brain operates as a biological computer but vastly more sophisticated. It processes information through electrical signals, action potentials, and chemical messengers, neurotransmitters, creating a dynamic network that enables perception, decision-making, and action. The brain doesn't work in isolation. It constantly receives inputs from the body and the external environment, integrates these signals, and outputs appropriate responses. 2. Communication at the neuronal level. A. Action potential, electrical signal. Neurons communicate using electrical impulses. When a neuron receives a stimulus, e.g., from another neuron or a sensory receptor, it generates an action potential, a rapid change in electrical charge across its membrane. Steps in signal transmission. 1. Resting state. The neuron is at a resting potential, with the inside of the cell negatively charged compared to the outside. 2. Depolarization. When a stimulus reaches the neuron, sodium ions rush in, making the inside more positive. 3. Repolarization. Potassium ions flow out to restore the negative charge. 4. Propagation. This electrical signal travels down the axon to the synapse. B. Synaptic transmission, chemical communication. At the synapse, the electrical signal is converted into a chemical signal. When the action potential reaches the end of the axon. 1. Release of neurotransmitters. Vesicles in the presynaptic neuron release neurotransmitters into the synaptic cleft. 2. Receptor binding. These neurotransmitters bind to specific receptors on the postsynaptic neuron. 3. Signal continuation. This binding causes ion channels in the postsynaptic neuron to open, continuing the signal. 3. Integration of information. The brain processes millions of signals simultaneously. This is achieved through A. Neural networks. Neurons are organized into intricate networks where excitatory neurons encourage activity. Inhibitory neurons suppress activity, preventing overstimulation. B. Hierarchical processing. 1. Primary sensory areas. Receive raw sensory data, e.g., light, sound. 2. Association areas. Integrate and interpret this data. 3. Higher order cortices. Plan responses, engage in reasoning, and make decisions. 4. Specialized brain functions. A. Sensory processing. The brain decodes input from sensory organs. Vision. Light signals are transformed into neural signals in the retina, sent via the optic nerve to the occipital lobe, and interpreted into images. Hearing. Vibrations in the ear are converted into neural signals that are processed in the temporal lobe. Touch. The parietal lobe maps the body's tactile sensations. B. Motor control. The motor cortex in the frontal lobe plans and executes voluntary movements. Commands are sent to muscles via motor neurons. C. Emotional processing. The limbic system evaluates stimuli for emotional significance, driving responses like fear, amygdala, or pleasure, dopaminergic pathways. 5. Brain regulation systems. A. Homeostasis. The brain maintains the body's internal balance. Hypothalamus regulates hunger, thirst, temperature, and hormones. Autonomic nervous system controls involuntary actions, e.g., heart rate, digestion. B. Sleep and wakefulness. The reticular activating system in the brainstem regulates alertness. Sleep cycles are managed by circadian rhythms, governed by the hypothalamus. REM sleep, associated with dreaming and memory consolidation. 6. Cognitive processes. A. Learning and memory. 1. Short-term memory, stored in the prefrontal cortex and requires active maintenance. 2. Long-term memory, stored in the hippocampus and distributed across the cortex. Memory consolidation strengthens synaptic connections. B. Decision making. The prefrontal cortex weighs options, evaluates risks, and plans actions based on past experiences and predictions of future outcomes. C. Consciousness. The integration of sensory, emotional, and cognitive information leads to the subjective experience of being aware. 7. Plasticity. Adapting and rewiring. The brain constantly adapts through neuroplasticity. Hebbian plasticity. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Synapses strengthen with repeated use. Pruning. Unused connections are eliminated, optimizing efficiency. 8. Working together. Integration of systems. The brain's ability to coordinate complex actions relies on its ability to work as a whole. 1. Parallel processing. Different areas simultaneously process different aspects of a task. 2. Feedback loops. Information flows back and forth between higher-order cortices and sensory regions for refinement. 3. Cross-hemispheric communication. The two hemispheres communicate via the corpus callosum. 9. Energy demands. Despite being only 2% of body weight, the brain uses about 20% of the body's energy. This energy sustains ion exchange during action potentials, neurotransmitter production and recycling, maintenance of homeostasis. 10. Limitations and mysteries. Despite its brilliance, the brain is constrained by processing speed. Neural signals are slower than electronic signals. Biological fragility. Neurons are susceptible to damage from injury, toxins, and diseases. However, the mysteries of the brain, such as how consciousness arises or how it generates abstract thought, continue to inspire exploration. If you like this video, quickly subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends so they can also enhance their knowledge. That's all for today. See you in the next video.